All right, welcome back, KLEFBOMers. We're here talking daily, or not daily, regular fantasy NHL here, specifically our Dynasty League. For those that are coming in, I noticed that we have people searching for NHL fantasy in general. We touch it for the most part here, but it's a little bit more specified to our league and our teams in general. But if anyone ever has questions or concerns about their own fantasy teams, like let us know. Drop a comment. We'll give you the words of wisdom from our own opinions for sure.
And hey, for that fact, if there's anything you actually want to ask, if you like what we have to say, and just post a question, and
Yep.
we'll get to it, because I have no problem going down different rabbit holes, and maybe
Yeah,
we
in
just
general.
overlooked that. So,
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
if you have specific questions, I'm
looking
down.
over the analytics, it was interesting seeing what kind of things get brought to the channel. It seems like fantasy hockey in general gets brought here, so I'm sure these videos get recommended, and then we kind of get into it and might stir people away. But I'm not afraid to like go more general in the future. Maybe we'll start take a more general approach. But for now, we're focusing
Do a
on our
question segment or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly, or like overall who's not doing well and who's like doing well that could be on your potential waiver wire in the future and just things like that. So something to keep in mind. But
Mm.
for now, we're 9 weeks done in our own dynasty league, and it's been getting intense. All the playoff picture has been set up with President's Trophy done, and
Mm.
yeah, we'll jump into that.
I was gonna say too, the one thing I like to read on fantasy, and if we do want to go down that avenue, I like to read up and see like guys you must add for the week, or
Yeah,
certain things, like if you're looking for hits, or if you're looking for penalty minutes, even though we don't have that necessarily, or a goalie you may want to stream for maybe just the next 3 games or week, or whatever it may be, or this goalie or that goalie for 2 months, or different things like that. Like that's the stuff I like to look into.
yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't mind doing stuff like that either.
Yeah, I'm definitely into it too. So it's something to keep in mind. But getting back to our specific league,
Our specifically.
we just finished up week 9. It's the last week of the season now. This week, before playoffs start, all the playoff spots have been now clinched. Congratulations, you didn't lose your way in like you thought you would. You won, but I
Yeah.
don't think it mattered. You could have lost your way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was pretty non-dramatic, and I think that this week upcoming, I'm expecting it to be pretty boring. I think everyone's just going to kind of ride this week out. I don't really think there's any importance to anyone really. Maybe well, you and Dylan for second.
yeah,
That's the one thing to
that's
watch.
like the
And
one
then
thing. Yeah.
I think there's some benefit if you care about where your picks are, or if you own a lot of your picks, like maybe Jesse or whatever. There is some benefit to playing Ben, because obviously Ben struggled to win this year. So theoretically, you could guarantee yourself a top 2 pick, assuming this team continues to struggle.
Hmm.
But then again, he has Matthews, right, and some goalies, so he could also get a little hot here at the wrong time. So
No, exactly.
as a consolation bracket, I don't know what you'd want to face, or what ideal matchups are. I don't think I've looked at it that close.
I took a little bit of a look at it, and like you said, like I think at the end of the day, you want to have the best seed in the constellation because unfortunately, you do get to play last place, who's had a tough season. But at the same token, maybe you want to go up against Steve, who going into the constellation bracket isn't going to have any ads really.
True.
Was one Steve's now down to 5 ads left for the whole
But
season.
I think he's saving those, because I think he had to get his goal. My read it, because we
Okay,
always know it. He has to get his goalies. He didn't have goalies, right? If you have no goalies and no ads, you're screwed, right? So
fair
it's
enough.
almost like they're sitting on free agency. I need them back. Have to use them, and then now I can hold. And that's what I
That
think
makes sense.
he's
Yeah,
doing. I think
yeah.
he's holding the 5 ads for the
I
next
hope so. I hope he
position.
does. I hope he just lays off the gas this week when he's playing me. So,
I think he will. But it's Steve. He could also want to take you out, right? That's the thing, is that, I mean, there's some pride on the line, right?
definitely, yeah,
So
definitely.
we'll see. We'll see.
Okay,
Some people could care less of the. Steve doesn't have a lot of his own picks, right? Like if he owns your pick and my pick and Nick's pick, where he finishes is irrelevant,
that's
right, for
true.
him. So I mean, maybe he would rather take pride knowing he took you down, and take
That the
his
eventual,
7th, ninth,
yeah,
11th,
the
whatever
eventual
they are.
champion of the league. He wants to beat him, right? So,
You're looking decent. we'll see though.
happy. I'm happy with where I sit and how
Your backbone is your goalies. I didn't think I would have ended up saying that.
Yeah, me either. But it's always been pretty. I got lucky really with Grubauer. So, but
And I think your ticket is Shesterkin though. Because Grubauer, Shesterkin with the save percentage and goals against, you might not have elite win. Obviously through Grubauer you do, but combined maybe not. But that's safe. It's kind of like why I carry Kemper. Kemper doesn't get a lot of wins, but he gets peppered with shots, right? So he inflates the save percentage and suppresses the goals against just by the numbers traditionally.
We'll see. If Shesterkin's still on the IR and he's just really skating right now, so whether he actually makes it back in time for playoffs, we'll see. I have my whole strategy planned out. So if I play next week, whoever's up against me is done. Like I'm telling you, they don't have a chance. So you better hope it's
unless you have the bye.
Unless I have the bye, which will honestly it'll work out even better. I'm excited for that. But before we get too much into that, let's at least give our shout out to our new President's Trophy winner, Mr. Rundles Puckets.
Yes.
Congratulations,
Jamie. Congrats. Good job. Like I said offline, I will admit I didn't give the respect that he deserved. I didn't think he could do it. Good job.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm happy to see that. I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it too. And looking back at our predictions at the beginning of the season, I don't know if either of us even had him as a playoff guy, to be honest. I don't remember.
I think I said that he'd be middle of the pack depending on what trades he pulled off.
Okay.
Or what trades he lacked to pull off. I don't remember maybe one or both of those statements, but I feel like he was not a slam dunk.
Yeah, he definitely had the combination of run good mixed with making the right moves at the right time. So like you said, he did the moves. He took advantage of the situation of picking up. He was early in the hunt with like 5-1 out of the gate, right? So he took advantage and he went for it and took a shot, man. With Dylan's tie this past week, Dylan no longer can pass him when their final match this week. I think leading up the past few weeks, you, me, Dylan, a bunch of other people probably thought that this last week they were playing each other. They were going to be playing for the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
Dylan stumbled the past 2 weeks now, I think, going 0-1-1. Therefore, opening the door for Jamie to take it a week early.
When I was doing the tiebreak numbers, trying to determine how many total losses people had in each category, Dylan was a less than 500 performer in the goalie stats this year for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still in second place. And I was chatting with him, and obviously, like, now that it's playoff time, unless they're keepers, you have no tie to them.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a huge benefit that Freddie is going on the IR. I think he's going to be going on the IR for probably 2 weeks.
Yeah. Luck box.
In this particular case, if you're not keeping him, he might come back for the final week, or maybe the semifinals, which if he has his game back and he's healthy playing in front of the Leafs team, he should help you. If you put him in and he sucks again, well, then you drop him and you add another guy, right? But he also has all his ads. He could use multiple ads on goalies anyways. And that's what scares me, is that he has that capability to add 3 starts on top of everything, but then also get 4 offensive starts on those peak nights. So, and it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to pick good ads, right? So,
yeah, he's going to be a threat, and maybe the best thing to happen to him is this Freddie situation. We'll see.
Could be. Could be. We'll see.
We'll see for sure. All right, let's take a look here. We got President's Trophy. We talked about the commish ad. Do you want to touch on what happened?
The manual ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was out and I was looking at some stuff, and then all of a sudden I got home and my plans changed. Yeah. I was supposed to be driving down to the Vaughan area, which for me is like a 30-ish minute drive, 40 minute drive. So if I didn't bail on that, I would have been driving, and obviously I wouldn't have been able to read the text and respond.
Yeah.
But then I got home and I look at my phone and I've got messages from you and I've got messages from Jesse, and I'm like, something's going on. So then I open up my phone and Jesse's like, hey, is there any way, what's going on? I'm like, okay, and then you're like, hey, did you see Jesse's message? I'm like, I'm just reading it, but I still don't know what's going on. And then I see the drop and I was like, oh, okay. And then even if you look at the timestamp, I think it's the same minute.
Yeah, man,
So
he messaged me the second he did it. He's like, "Fuck, my app fucked up." Because like, what?
yeah.
I guess in the app you can like swipe sideways from player to player. I don't know. I don't really use the app that way.
Okay.
So when he's swiping, I guess the drop came up, and then like the app crashed.
Okay.
Or something along these lines.
I don't really
matter.
care what happens because I know
Yeah.
there's sometimes I'm in the app because they changed the format of the bottom of the screen. Bottom right used to be a different thing. I don't remember if it was drop.
It's
or
so
look at
easy to
reviews or
drop someone
whatever.
on the app.
It is.
I've come this close at least twice this season.
Yeah, me too. And that's my rule is like if you text me, be like, I fucked up right now. Like, can you please change it? I'm gonna change it. If you message me 40 minutes later and you're like, I changed my mind, kind of, and
Yeah.
I didn't really want to, but yeah, I don't want to anymore. No, sorry.
Yeah, and that makes sense,
I mean?
and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And the timeline was perfect, and the explanation, like it's Gensel, like no one's dropping Gensel
Exactly.
when he plays in an hour, like it just so pretty.
Yeah. And that was the part that made the time constraint important about me bailing on my plans. Is that the game was literally in like 45 minutes when
seriously.
you texted.
A 10 a.m. game
I
for
think
me.
it was like 15 or 18 minutes before game time that I ended up doing it for him.
It wouldn't have mattered
it was
in the
pretty
long
close.
run.
No,
He had a good.
I would have felt crappy, but it is what it is.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is.
I mean, at that point, if he's back on your roster, you're happy about that, and you don't care about the game that you lose, right?
You only care if you end up losing by a goal or whatever,
or a shot on goal or something. like that.
Exactly. All right.
Like, fuck.
So we had a couple waiver bids in our league. I'll let you talk about these because you have little notes beside them. I'm not quite sure what they mean. So.
Okay, so in this particular order, I actually have them in reverse of time frame.
Yeah.
So early on the week, Sean paid $23 for Brian Rust, who Steve dropped, and the thing I had beside it was just me dropping some inside information. I had tried a couple times to get him, just because I liked his shots on goal. I knew he would pretty much always be in the top 6 in Pittsburgh, and he led the NHL in shots as a forward or as a winger for the last like 2 seasons, basically, or in terms of average, anyways.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of interest in him, and this was back when Letang was a free agent. So I checked in on him. That was like the third or fourth time, and kind of like the final time. And that's what I was like, hey, if I can't get him for when Steve had him, before he dropped him, and then I was like, okay, I for paying a price or grabbing Letang for free, I just grabbed Letang for free. So now, in retrospect, if I had an opportunity to trade for him now, I wouldn't want to.
Exactly.
But it's funny that I did.
It's funny that you bring that story up because it came out in our group chat too that same exact situation happened with me and Steve where I'm trying to get someone off him. He wants too much and I just pick someone up off waivers instead and he ends up dropping him for nothing. So and in the same kind of story as you, I wouldn't want that player now anyway. So it worked out in my favor in the long run. So.
But that's the lessons that we learn from both sides, right? Like it teaches you that if you like the player for the next week or so, or 2 or 3 matchups, but you don't love them to keep forever, take the pick. If you like to hold the guy for like 5 or 6 more matchups, hold the guy. You know what I mean? Like if somebody comes knocking on the door and wants your 12th or 13th forward, we have 14 roster spots, obviously. So if somebody comes knocking on the door for 11 or 12 or even 13, trade him.
Yep.
Like
that's one thing I've learned this season is that like we've talked about, since your bottom 4 of your roster is really like a rotating door, like it doesn't matter if you have a 14th, 13th, 12th, they're all the same. Even like when we're talking 9 and like we're going into our 3rd year dynasty now, a lot of keepers are like going to be off the board. So like even those 9th, 10th, they're whatever, right? Take your asset when you can get it. It's kind of like a poker chip, like it's a bargaining chip, really, to just sweeten the pot when you want something that you actually want.
Yeah, it's like getting more darts in your hand to throw at a dartboard. You don't really know what numbers mean what, but you have more darts.
Yeah,
so you
perfect.
Probably end up better in the long run. Maybe not if you're the Buffalo Sabres and you do poorly on your dart throwing, but. Yeah, that was an unnecessary jab at the Sabres.
All right, then Ben rolled in, I guess, got Zach Hyman $21. So I don't. Was Was there other action on any of these? I don't think so, right?
No, these were all just solo ads. I had to go through the week just to see who paid for just like an
Yeah.
ad or whatever. And it was funny because I had asked Ben when he had added Hyman because I actually dropped Hyman. And the reason I dropped Hyman was not because he wasn't performing and not because I didn't think he'd get the points, but because he was on weeks where he back-to-back 2 games. So we only had 4 games in 2 weeks. So like it just wasn't worth it when I needed to win. So I dropped him and he added him right after he like obviously off waiver time with the bid. So 2 days later, and it's just like he waited all week, but then he ended up having 2 monster games, so it was worth it. Like he had 5 shots on goal and 7 shots on goal, and I think his hits were 4 and 5 or 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So like he had almost 10 and 10 in both shots and goals and hits, and it was just like that's insane for 2 games. Like, that's what you could expect over 3 games. So like, who cares about this guy?
Yeah, and he'll probably be a solid guy for the last place team in the league for the playoffs. Even though you said he had 2 games this week, but then come playoffs, he'll be probably playing 4, right? So
and he's going to be moved down in the lineup a little bit more, so he's going to be playing more of a checking grinding game. So in theory, he's going to have more hits because he's obviously going to be chasing and chipping and chipping and chasing and getting into the corners and doing that work. But you got to also think there's going to be more like puck to the net, like no fancy stuff, no finding Marner, Matthews, like get the puck to the net, drive it to the net. So by that, you should get more shots, close rebounds. You get 2-3 quick whacks when you're a guy like that. You can get 3 shots on goal in a matter of 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Decent ad. I think all 3 of these guys actually are decent ads. And then Steve added Jamie Benn off waivers, which is who Ben actually dropped Hyman for. And it was a $15 bid. And I just added that Ben's getting tossed around the league. I think he's on like his 5th team maybe this season.
Yeah.
Everybody's just hoping for that potential, and he has a good game, and then he's got 2 or 3 games, and then he's got a really good game, maybe 2 good games, and then nothing for 3 games. Like it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's very inconsistent.
He used to be a beast.
In this league, you can't really, like you've talked about, you can't really have an inconsistent player. It can really hurt you. Really hurt you. All right.
If you have ads, anyways, if you're out of ads, then at that point you're just betting on who you think's going to have the best finish.
I think he specifically wanted him for 1 game. Well, for the going into the weekend because he was behind on hits and shots, and that's really what he was going. I think
if he still has them, I wouldn't be surprised if he kept him for the run. Like my gut feeling, which we'll get into in predictions in a sec, I feel like everyone's going to be very hesitant on ads. Maybe minus you and Dylan, or so Dylan. I don't think you're going to try to use very much, but if it means getting 2nd place, you might as well, right?
I will. I'm going to at least see how the first couple days tone out. Like if Dylan,
I think you're going to need to use 4 ads this week to win.
Me? All right.
I do.
Yeah, I'm short on goalies actually this week. Basically going to be riding.
He has ads, and Freddie just went onto the IR, so he can use. He has an ad spot now. But he has full ads against you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just got to beat fucking Steve. I don't have to beat Dylan.
Oh, true. I thought you were playing Dylan. My bad.
No, Dylan's playing. So, all right, let's look at last week, how it ended. I'm just going to pop it right here. Let's see if I can like make it. No, it's going to block our faces. That's okay. It's a good week for the Scrub Dynasty of the league. 10-0. So that was the biggest win spread of the season so far. It was 11-0, almost 12-0. Like I was 1 shot, 1 goal away from the clean sweep. And I didn't use any ads, so I couldn't have asked for a better week, really. Sorry, Sean. Sean kind of had a rough week. Pasternak ended up with the postponements, and Malkin went down with an injury, and it's just a rough week for him. He kind of.
I think he had a bad goalie ad, didn't he? Didn't one of the goalies he added get blown up?
Well, he had Reimer. He had Hart. He didn't have Hart for the big 9-0 game, but he didn't have any. Like his goalies are just whatever. They're 900 plus. My goalie's got 2 shutouts, so like pretty much. He is in a tough spot. Yeah. And then we got you 9-2. Didn't follow yours too closely. Yeah. You were worried that you had a chance to lose this one.
But it's not a 9-2 matchup. That score is unfair. I will give a lot more respect to Ben's team this week. Like it was close. Like I'll quickly pull it up because I didn't look at that much detail in terms of how close it was.
Yeah.
But going into Sunday, it was close. So goals weren't close. He had me by double in goals. So in theory, if there was points as well, he would have won that category. Or sorry, no, there is points. He lost by 1. I was thinking my other pool for a second. Yeah, so he had 11 goals to my 6. He was only back 6 assists, but 1 point. So he was only 1 point, 1 power play point. On going into Sunday, it was 1 game-winning goal. So I mean, anyone can get 1 game-winning goal, especially when there were 6 games. I think there were 6 to 7 games. The shots on goal were close going into Sunday. Going into Sunday, I had 6 games to his 3, and I only beat him by 8 shots. So I had,
so like you said, 9-2 was a generous score for sure.
Very much, and also the wins. He only had me. I had 4-3. So if he had 1 point, 1 power play point, well, I guess 2 points, 2 power play points, and 2 wins, it would have been a tie.
Okay.
So like that's not a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So.
And then like the biggest. This is the game I was watching the most. Beefy and Steve, like Dylan, Steve. They ended up being a tie. Had Steve won, I would have moved up into 2nd place because I guess I hold the tiebreaker on Dylan. You were saying. And Steve, well, I guess Steve wouldn't have been alive. Like he needed to win to stay alive, and you lose. But since you won, it wouldn't have mattered. But he was fighting till the very end here, and it was, I don't know, it's very unfortunate. I think at the end they tied in shots on goal, and they tied in hits, or was it goals and hits? There's something in hits. Yeah, goals and hits. They ended up tying both those categories. Had there been 1 extra hit, that person would have won the week.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's so close. And I'm just realizing how much I would be sweating right now had I lost last week. Because I would have been tied right now with Jesse.
Would you have?
And 1 point back with Sean. Yeah.
If you lost, you would have been 4-5. Okay. Would have been 2 points out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but still, I still wouldn't have clinched yet.
Wait, you wouldn't have? I thought you just needed Steve and Sean to tie.
Because the tiebreaker isn't final, right? Because I could get shut out, right?
Okay.
If I got shut out, then
you would have had 8
points.
Tiebreaker
skyrocket.
Yeah. That win was huge. It was huge.
Just to like make me not have to use my ads this week. Like this week, I don't intend on using any ads unless maybe my goalie comes back and I want to add a game in between a start. That's the only way or if somebody else drops somebody that is trying to make a late play that I would prefer to have in my lineup. Like there is one guy on somebody's roster right now. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it is. I will say they're in the playoff spot. Somebody in the playoffs has somebody who I don't think they're going to keep beyond the next couple days. And I'm sitting here going like this, hoping that they lose patience with this person and drop them.
Johnny Gaudreau?
I get the sensitivity. I don't know. No. But I get the impression it's this close, and if he goes on waivers, he's mine. If that happens, I'm gonna add him, but we'll see.
Okay, that's interesting you say that. Let's just wrap up these last 2 games here. We got Jesse rolling a 10-1 victory over Nick. I know you and I in the past have talked about Nick being a huge threat in the playoffs, but Jesse just slapped him around. I think Nick's team, if you looked at the stats this week, finally I think they performed the way you expect his team to.
You know what killed him? The last couple of weeks he was killing it off goalie stats.
Yeah.
He had Kakkonen who gave up 6 goals. That's what killed him.
Yep.
That took him from their matchup was 6-5.
Yeah,
before
but
that.
also his team finally came back to reality a bit in 22 points and not
True.
putting up the 35 that they've been doing, which is pretty unsustainable given what his team
He's been
is.
going at a double barrel.
So it's good. I personally like to see it as a potential playoff matchup. I'd like to see that it's coming back down to earth a little bit. And then the very last matchup here, we had Rundles taking home the President's Trophy by beating Joey. And yeah, I don't know if that one was really.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch that matchup. It was
I
kind of
did.
my blind spot this week.
It looks like looking at the results, Reynolds just smoked them in all the offensive categories. Joey actually won the goalie categories for the most part. But Reynolds using a lot of ads, and even on the last day, I was kind of thought I didn't made it seem like to me that it was closer than now I'm looking at it. I don't know if he needed to use all those ads, but maybe he's just preparing for this week too. I don't know.
It could be a combination of that, and it could be a combination of, hey, like I'm 3 ads away from $100 in my pocket.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anything can happen in the playoffs, and for all I know, the hockey could stop tomorrow again.
Yeah,
right?
I guess lock up the President's Trophy. He has the ads too. It's not like he's short on ads. He still has the buy locked up, so he still really can do a full ad week this week, which I hope he does. Come on, Rundle.
I leave any ads, like realistically, like you should try to obviously plan to just run out at the right time. Like they're there for a reason. I'm shocked Joey's done so well, but then again, it's his team is goalies plus the offense and stuff he gets, so it's almost like the analytics. But the one thing I found interesting is Joey is the only team who has yet to win one single category. And what I mean by that is, so in hits, he's never won hits yet this year.
He hasn't won it once?
He's 0-8-1, I think it is, or 0-7-2 or something like that.
Okay.
He's the only team in the standings that haven't recorded a win in.
I almost had that.
I don't know you know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not saying it right.
I know what you're trying to say. So like he just hasn't won a category, the category hits yet. He's 0-9.
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now. 0-9.
Everyone else, so everyone else has recorded at least one win in every other category during the season.
I got my first game-winning goal win this past week, so that was.
There you go. There you go.
And I won it by one. I know I've been complaining about that one for a while, so.
You have been, but it makes me curious with Joey, because like, I mean, I think I know what my destiny is here based on my goalies. Like if Tuukka's injury is more serious, I mean, I'm kind of skipping up a little bit here to the preview, but yeah.
Let's just go to it. Like we're done with this wrap up. Those ones. So. Let's look at a preview of this next week. Is that what you want to do?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't want to necessarily. Well, yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it. Like, good transition.
With me and Joey, I don't think I'm going to use very many ads.
Oh yeah, you're playing Joey, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm playing Joey, and I looked at a few scenarios, and I think it's highly probable that I end up playing Joey again next week.
Yeah.
So it's probably a back-to-back situation here, so it's nice because I get a bit of a scouting report. It's also nice because his goalies are the two in Vegas are what I have in my other pool, so I'll have a close eye on what's going on, and I'll be watching the games. Part of me will be hoping for a blow-up, but then, hey, if they have wicked games, then it's good for me somewhere.
Is your other pool going into playoffs at the same time?
No, we have like 14 weeks before playoffs.
Yeah,
playoffs aren't until week like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, same with my other pool. We still have 3 weeks this season. Like this one's gonna be in the finals when my other one's. Yeah, this one might be over right when the other one's starting or something, which I think we talked about
last week.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a risk, but
yeah, is what it is, right?
So I think I predicted Joey to win this one against you.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I have Joey beating me as well because, again, I'm not going to be using any ads unless I absolutely have to. And by absolutely have to means like, if it came out that Bishop's not coming back for the season at all, if it came out that Kemper's not coming back for the season at all, and then like Trocheck's injuries done for the season too, then obviously at that point I'd make a move or two more to prepare for the
next week.
playoffs than to compete for this week.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee, or I hope I don't end up in a situation where I'm using ads, because that means I'm not in a good situation. So
you think this is pretty much a destiny, no matter who wins, you guys probably match up again, right? Well, I guess if Joey,
I think I'm gonna get crushed this week.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, if Joey wins and I lose, then it's probably me and you, like I said.
Yeah, I most probabilities that I looked at had Nick at 6.
Okay.
And me at 5.
Okay.
So it's more about who finishes at 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So it could be you and or Dylan, or not but you or Dylan facing Nick, and probably me and Joey for the 3-4.
Yeah, but if I lose and Joey wins, he'll pass me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen based on what I made the predictions for, but I just have the feeling, my gut feeling tells me I'm going to have to play Joey back to back. I could be wrong. Yeah. It's just my gut feeling is telling me that. So,
well, let's look at this next matchup. Another potential back to back of Captain Clutch and Rocket Trees, Ben and Jesse. So, right now, they're lined up to face each other again next week. With the 7th versus 10th seed, so they'd be battling it out in the constellation round. Do they get a bye in the first round of constellation?
I think they get a bye in the first round and then they play. I would prefer it to be one done and then the championship gets their own.
Yeah. Week.
Their own. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Yeah.
Spotlight gets the spotlight for the final week. But either way, yeah.
I'm giving my edge to Jesse on this one again.
Yeah, me too.
He's got Jack Campbell now, which is potentially could be big for him. Demko's been monster. I don't know, just giving it to him because I think he's in prime spot to win the constellation at this point.
I think so too. His team's heating up right at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Like if we had 2 more weeks, I think he probably would end up taking a spot from me or Nick.
Yeah, I was talking about him with that. If like we had a regular normal season, you could afford the kind of bad luck he had at the beginning here, and he would have got in. Just rode it out, but
especially because Ovi's heating up too, right? I mean, Ovi's been good, but not Ovi, right? And with his shots on goal, and he doesn't hit as much as he did, but his production and especially power plays and his game-winning goal potential is probably like the best in the game, if not top 3. So like that hurt for him, not being elite for the longest time.
Did, yeah.
And then Eichel being hurt and all that other stuff. But
yeah,
that's the other thing. If Eichel comes back, he's the one that has Eichel right now.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So if Eichel comes back, let's say end of next season or next week or midweek after that, if they get the bye, he could be coming back just for his final 2 weeks, right? So that could be huge for him.
Could be, yeah. Good. Keep our eye on that. All right, Dynasty versus Beer Buds. This is really a matchup of irrelevance, really. Nick obviously is playing to win, to move up, but like at the end of the day, does Nick? I'm sure he has some preferences on who he wants to play, but it's really out of his hands.
But I don't think Nick's gonna use ads.
Yeah, it's out of his hands at this point.
He's one of those teams I don't see. I don't see why a lot of people would use ads this week unless it's critical, and I don't see any situations that really become that critical this week.
Yeah, unless I'm really the only critical situations are me and Dylan, and I'm saving those 2 games for last. So let's move in. Well, my prediction for this is Beer Buds.
Yeah, I have him too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about. I guess we'll talk about mine and Steve's matchup. And it just goes to show, like you said, I'm not planning to use any ads because I'm right on the border of I have 39, so I could use 7 every matchup at this point. I don't plan on using any unless it looks like I might, it could help me win, and it looks like Dylan's gonna lose.
Yeah, you need to see the tunnel first before you commit to it.
Yeah, exactly. So right now at this point, I think I do have the advantage, against Steve. If he's not using any ads, I like my team better, so I did pick myself to win. Yeah, goalies.
However, I will say if Dylan intends on not, I don't know the answer to this, but if he doesn't intend on keeping any of his goalies and he opts to drop them and run a platoon and go almost with what Steve did, where go bang, 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 hit a couple goalies early and then flood the gates with back-to-backs and stuff for shots on goal and offense, he could be super dangerous. And he's not dumb, so I'm pretty sure he's thought of that strategy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's just waiting for the right time to unleash it.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping he would continue even in the playoffs to try to run his 3 goalie strategy, but I guess at that point you got to realize that that's not the winning formula. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I'm interested to see how he plays his playoffs, to be sure, and even this matchup.
It's weird though, because like the matchups that are like goalie based always seem to be like all week, just like a sluggers match between goalies. And then at that point, you need 3 goalies to beat those guys and to win those matchups. It's so much harder to win those matchups when you get in those when you have only 2 goalies, especially if you're against somebody who has 3 goalies. But if you're in a matchup where it's offense, like specifically those weeks where, you know, we all see it, where every game's 2-1 or 3-2. They're all really close, really low-scoring games. Then all of a sudden you go through 10 days where every game's 6-5 or 9-0 or 7-2. And it's like, that's clearly not a goalie week. And it's just, you never know what you're going to match up with. And then versus the team, how they're going to line up either. And that's why it comes back to the whole luck thing. Like luck of the draw, luck of the situation, luck of the health, luck of the schedule, luck of the strength of the schedule, luck of the teammates. Luck of the coach not getting angry and benching you, Patrick Laine.
So do you think if you're looking at this matchup between Beefy and Rundles, do you think Rundles uses at least a bunch of ads?
I don't. I think honestly, if we had to pick an over/under for ads for the entire week for all the teams, if it was like 10.5, I'd take the under.
Really?
Yeah, I think honestly, the only person that's going to disrupt that is Dylan. And then maybe subsequently you, and then maybe subsequently somebody else if something else is going wrong. But like, I don't like. You said you don't intend on it. I don't intend on doing it. If Joey, I don't see why Joey cares what position he's in. Like now that he can't get a bye.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like a guy on his team, he might swap him out to move forward with. But I don't expect very many people to be using ads. Like we said, there's no critical matchups really, other than whoever finishes second.
Yeah, that's the only thing that can really change. Yeah, that's going to be driving it. That's why I'm hoping I pick Rundles for the luck, to give him some luck, and Hellebuck's in there tonight. Bennington's in there tonight in their matchup. So Hellebuck's shutout. Bennington's going to get lit up by Las Vegas. I'm giving this one to Rundles for sure.
Yeah. See, this could be the week where it all switches. Anderson goes to the IR. Price has been playing well. Bennington all of a sudden goes lights out, gets 2 shutouts in 4 games, and all of a sudden we're not talking about his goalies.
Yeah.
Right? Like things can change so fast this year. Like, and
keep in mind too, he does not have McDavid. They postponed too. Potential COVID in the Edmonton lineups.
Seriously?
Yep. Came out right before this podcast started. They postponed. They postponed tonight's game against Montreal. So who knows? Like,
I actually don't mind that because that means that I lost a game from Draisaitl and Anderson and probably added it hopefully later when I get an extra game played.
Yeah.
This week doesn't matter for me, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. But like if that what a time. Like if they go into like a length of PPD that we've seen from other teams, that could be devastating for McDavid owners out there. Yeah. But yeah, that's our previews, our predictions. Not a super exciting week.
I can say I'm excited, but I think this week's going to be probably the most boring of the whole season, and I think people are just going to be more strategizing or putting towards the strategy of the playoffs.
Yep.
This week, and I think you're going to start seeing some ads on like a Wednesday night or like a Friday morning where you're like, the guy doesn't play today, but it's more for the schedule next week or something like that, right?
For sure.
But
it's funny. Kristen was
goalie
like, "You're not
thing.
like, you haven't been talking about fantasy that all." I'm like, "Well, it doesn't matter anymore. I made the playoffs. I'm dominating. Like, I'm not sweating it." Like, that was the first Sunday in forever I wasn't like sweating like every single game.
Freaking out. Yeah.
I was actually.
I'm gonna miss it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna miss it.
Playoffs are starting next week, so the sweats will be extra intense.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like my chances. I expect to be eliminated before I go very far.
Yeah.
I think I said early on if my goal was to win one round. So that's still my goal.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see for sure. Is there anything else we want to touch on, or?
No, I think we're good.
That's good. All right. Good luck, all you Clef Bombers out there. And remember, if someone made it this far into the video and you have a question about your own shit, just let us know. We can answer it on here. We can answer it in the comments, whatever. Yeah. Until next week.
Like,
Peace.